welcome back to episode 6 of the Darth Show.
In 6 months, it feels like.
Yeah, about 1 month. We got our resident dumbass race fans here with us, taking the title back.
That's right.
We're proud of it.
We're proud of it, man.
I do have to say that after last week's episode, I have heard that there have been some protests about balloons. What have balloons done to us?
Yeah, that's balloon violence is on the uprise here.
Balloon lives matter.
So, after Nathan just couldn't understand what those balloons have done to us.
But we're happy to tell you we have shared that story with everyone we've talked to. You have to, right?
I would have done the same thing.
All right, so I'm gonna throw it to you guys. Big race at Bristol yesterday afternoon, and you guys said you got a lot to talk about.
It's old Bristol. I mean, 2 lanes, they could run anywhere they want. How many times were they yelling 3 wide, you know? And last several years of Bristol never happened. You know, they was barely, it pretty much ran around like a train, and passing was slim. But it reminded me of old Bristol, kind of the old days. I was very pleased with that.
I really think the new short track package that they have this year, the higher horsepower, low downforce, that definitely made a difference in that race.
That little bitty spoiler, I agree. I mean, it was absolutely. You said it before we went on the air, race of the year, and so far I am full agreement with you. That was a great race to sit and watch.
It was, like I was saying, 400 laps went by. It seemed like in no time.
Yeah.
I was pretty much on the edge of my seat trying to get this sunburn taken care of. But no, it was definitely a race of the year in my opinion.
Who did you think was going to have it there at the beginning of the race?
I kind of was thinking Matty D.
Oh, really?
Just based off what he done last year. I know it's every team, but he was kind of let down.
Well, he had broken tie rod is what put
Yeah.
him down so many laps. I mean, that's really out of his control. So
He had a little different pit strategy for the competition caution, got up around 5th or so.
well, he led
Yeah.
on that one caution. There,
Yeah.
he led 5 laps.
And then he got screwed up again and never really could get back up there. But, things like that's not happen. But, overall, very, very good race.
I was, and you guys know how I feel about him, impressed with Jimmy Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
He ran up near the front almost the entire day, and started in the back. He didn't get to do the draw because of where he sat in the points and stuff. I mean, he raced very well, and he was old Jimmy. He looked like old Jimmy there.
I think if that race would have went all the way without a caution, he had a really good long run car.
Yes.
But those cautions at the end, that just killed him.
Who was you disappointed in? You already said Matty D disappointed you.
Who else I was disappointed in? Kinda Alex Bowman in a way.
Yeah. But he was involved in the accident. But
Yeah.
he was back in the pack quite a ways. But I agree with you. I thought Alex would have been more of a front runner.
I don't think he had a winning car, but I was thinking definitely a top 10 car.
Kurt Busch was my big disappointment. He was up near the front at the beginning, and then it seemed like they tuned the wrong direction. Yeah, he got caught in that accident, but I thought he'd be close to the front. What stands out?
Just the old Bristol style. That was like a race you saw back years ago.
Yeah.
Multiple lanes, down on the bottom, up on top. I loved it.
You also know I'm not a fan of the PJ1, but just that little. I mean, it was only good enough for, the left side tires. You couldn't get the whole car down on it. But I have to say that was just enough to hold that bottom line where they could race on it until they developed that top line.
If it would have been a whole car width wide, I don't think they would have ran up top as much as what they did.
I agree.
Keep it where you could run your left side, like you say.
Yeah.
And, it still kind of makes you a little swirly, I guess, but they can still run down there.
I mean, like you said, front to back, it was impressive. It was old Bristol where, the front runners were using the black cars as picks because they could drive in them on the high side and go low and then.
Didn't know where they was going, they're going to try to stay high or they're going to go low and, try to negotiate
But you
all
could
that.
scrub the guy on your back bumper off by
Yeah.
you know, and that was old Bristol. You know,
It's Bristol, baby.
that's right. You made me excited to go back. You know, that was that's what I thought. Man, are we going to race Wednesday night at Bristol again? Because I would have been loving that.
So now the fall race at Bristol, the night race, that's in the playoffs this year.
Yes.
So just think of how action packed that's gonna
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, I agree.
Looking ahead, probably before we do the next ARF episode, we're going to see two races. We're going to see Sunday at Atlanta and then turn around on Wednesday at Martinsville. So what's the preview looking ahead? Who's the favorites? What are we thinking?
I think, in my opinion, at Atlanta, I would probably have to go with Kevin Harvick.
That's what I was going to say. Because he's been in the top 10
Yeah.
on every race so far this
Yeah,
year.
it
He's been in
was-
the top 10.
Last year or the year before last, he was running down on the low line. Nobody else could run like that, and he was freaking going.
He'd drive on the paint. He'd actually put his tires on that
Yeah.
paint line at the bottom. And
Yeah.
that's who I was going to pick also.
Martinsville.
I'd have to go with Rowdy.
Wow. I about got to put my money on Chase Elliott.
That's an interesting two picks right there.
What if it came down to them? A few laps to go. How would that turn out?
Then I would take whoever's in third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Talking about Sunday, Clint Boyer was handed a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He come from nowhere to second.
Yeah, he couldn't hit water. He fell out of the boat, and then he came up, and heck, he had a few more laps. He had cracked his tires
Yeah,
too.
yeah, he would have been the winner.
Yeah.
And then I believe after that, do we get back on more of a normal schedule?
Yeah.
I kind of started looking and
I believe after the Sunday and the Wednesday, then we're kind of back on track.
As of now, but who knows?
Yeah, I think that's tended to change.
because after Martinsville, I believe Homestead,
Homestead
and then Texas maybe,
could be, and then Talladega.
Yeah.
and then you're up into hopefully
There's a
the Brickyard.
Double header at
Pocono, but that was scheduled from the start. That was a plan from the
Yeah.
beginning.
Saturday and a Sunday.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Atlanta, Martinsville on Wednesday, then Homestead, Talladega the 21st. Then you've got that 27th, 28th, that back-to-back Pocono races, and then you're to the Brickyard. Hopefully July 5th, the Brickyard. And I love now even though I understand the Brickyard's moved a lot, but with putting the Brickyard on 4th of July weekend, you go right after that to Kentucky. So for NASCAR fans in this area, that's a pretty great week right
That's a
there.
double hitter.
The 5th and the 11th.
2 weekends in a row within an hour and a half driving distance, from right here, basically.
And then you're looking at New Hampshire, Michigan, Watkins Glen, Dover, Daytona. So then you are right back on the natural schedule. As natural as possible.
Who knows? That's the thing. Who knows how it's gonna look in another few weeks.
I actually thought there'd be some fans at Bristol since Tennessee has kind of went back to normal. I thought that maybe that's just NASCAR decided we're just not going to do it. But I thought Bristol was going to be the test because Gatlinburg's packed. Every picture I've seen of Gatlinburg, it looks like Gatlinburg of 2019.
Well, and like I said last week, I was in Tennessee the weekend before, down there for dirt stuff, and the fans were shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Every track was packed that we raced at.
I really expected that, but Bristol sits right there on the state line of Virginia, and maybe they held off because of that. You can throw a rock from the racetrack and hit Virginia.
So, looking ahead still, what are some of those, like I said, with the schedule kind of coming back to where it is, what's some of the tracks that you think stand out that may play a bigger part maybe in this year's championship, or what exactly happens going forward?
Like Nathan already said, Bristol being in the playoffs, that's going to be a wild card. I think you're going to get somebody there's going to be a playoff upset, or there's anything in the playoffs that could win that race just because of the way Bristol is, and that could knock a contender out. Put that right there.
What tracks are in the playoffs?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The new playoff format could wreak havoc on the playoffs.
Yes.
start at Darlington for the Southern 500.
Yeah.
Then you move on to Richmond, then Bristol, then Vegas, then Talladega, where you're waiting for anything that can
Yeah,
happen.
that's another.
The Roval.
The Roval is the next
Yeah,
week,
who knows what can
which
happen
we
here.
see how that goes.
Yeah.
Then Kansas, Texas, Martinsville,
Wow.
back at Martinsville again, and then Phoenix for the actual championship. So,
So Martinsville will be the last race to get into the play, or
Yeah.
into the championship tour. Wow.
If you can
So-
survive everything else.
I mean, yeah, with that's the thing. When you start looking down that list, yes, Bristol, anything can happen. Darlington, anything can happen. Talladega,
Martinsville.
Roval, Martinsville.
So,
I mean,
uh,
5 of the 10 races
Yeah.
are, I guess the best way, yeah, I guess I would say it that way. 5 of the 10 are non-traditional racetracks.
Yes.
They're not something that you see. I'll give credit to NASCAR. I mean, I think that's what the playoffs needed more than anything.
Well, in fact-
It's less mile and a half and more diversity to see what happens.
It seemed like, the old format, it was all mile and a half, or, something equivalent. Now you got every type of track they race on in the playoffs, and that's the way it ought to be. Cause you're going across the board on what you're doing.
The only argument I would make that I would like to see, and I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts, I love the Roval in there, but I would like one true road course in the playoffs as well.
I like that. And really, I mean,
And I would replace one of those others. I'd probably leave Richmond in. I would probably look at like maybe Las Vegas.
I would take one of the cookie cutter mile and a halfs out. And I know you're cutting a fan, but one of the cookie cutters that has 2 dates, take one of those.
I think I'd take Vegas and put Sonoma
Oh,
because then you get them out there to California
Yeah.
to the West Coast again.
I said we lost Sonoma this year.
Yeah, I know. I know.
that's- And I enjoy the road courses.
And I do too. That's why I love what they've done, and I understand that NASCAR's argument would probably be, well, the Roval is your road course, but
it's not.
It's not. It's totally different than what a true road course is. And I'm always going to push for, those weirder tracks because I'm not a mile and a half guy.
Yeah.
So I think if you could get that to 60%, 6 out of those 10 races, I think that's amazing. And I would also challenge NASCAR. I wouldn't want to see a road course for it or even a super speedway, but maybe look at that championship weekend and let's get out of Phoenix. I understand we just went there, we've been in Homestead, not knocking Phoenix, but let's go to a short track where we can get the 4 together. Like you guys are just talking Old Bristol this weekend. We're setting picks, we're moving. Think about the excitement of the championship 4 at Bristol, bumper to bumper,
I think the only thing holding that off is all of our great short tracks a little more north.
I don't
And
disagree
in
with
fall
that.
weather, I think they're worried about attendance and weather conditions. I think that's the only reason because I think that's where we're in. Homestead.
Miami and Phoenix.
Yes.
I don't disagree.
I'll tell you. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead. I would like to see him add in the Grand Prix track in Indianapolis.
Oh, I want them on that so bad. So bad.
It's right there. Give Indy 2 dates like we give Charlotte. One's on the big track and the other one's on the Grand Prix track.
Or why not throw out the whole idea of what they're doing in Pocono? Why not do a Saturday-Sunday doubleheader and run the road
Oh,
course
yes.
Saturday and run the Brickyard
Yeah.
Sunday?
Because that's a wasted track now.
And it's 2 totally different cars,
Yeah.
so they can bring a road course car and their big track car. I do like the Pocono back-to-back
Me too.
idea. I think that's a cool thing, and I think it throws a challenge to these teams. And I will give NASCAR credit on that. And I know we've talked in here a lot about where is NASCAR going and whether it's, is it better, is it worse, and people have their own opinions. I think NASCAR, for about 15 years there after Dale passed, I think a lot of their focus was on safety, don't get me wrong, but I think they got to where they didn't want to make teams, owners, and drivers uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They wanted to, let's just make this as easy, as cookie cutter, let's keep them comfortable. And I think that's what really took something out of the sport. So now challenging them and saying, we're not going to give you the chance right around, adding in the stages, making them race the whole race, the bonus points, throwing these tracks at them there, back-to-back race days. I got to give NASCAR a lot of credit because I think they forced these teams to start making some moves, adjusting, trying to figure out how to race better. And I think we've seen that in some of the penalties and
Oh, yeah, definitely.
the cheating, but that's what made NASCAR great, is let's figure out a way to make it happen. And so I gotta give a lot of credit to NASCAR, and I know there's a lot of people that still think it's not, but you really need to look at what they're doing to improve the sport.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're trying. You know, they could just be sitting back and, you know, just,
This worked for 100 years, we're gonna keep going.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know, people are griping and complaining, like he said, about changes and, you know, like these stages and stuff, and you can't fault them. You can't fault the safety body for wanting to try.
Yeah. And change is good a lot of times.
Yeah.
At least try it, because we always know we can go back.
Right.
But you're never gonna know until you try. You know, and that's and you know, Dustin brought up the cheating. NASCAR was built in the gray area, and we're finally being allowed to go back to that gray area. You know, they're almost, you know, here's the rule and here's the out of bounds, but you have this little bit in here that you can play.
And it bothers me, I think, with people from other major sports that act like those sports don't change. You know, because, you know, you look at basketball. You know, when I was going back and watching the Michael Jordan documentaries, you go watch them in North Carolina, no 3-point line.
Yeah.
Like today, you can't, like people can't even think about or imagine the idea of basketball without the 3-point line. That's how the whole game is built around today in college and the NBA. You go to the NFL. We just started a couple years ago kicking 35-yard extra points.
Yes.
I mean, the game, and we won't even get into the
They put the
debate.
goalpost to the back.
Yes, and we won't even get into the debate on how we treat receivers and penalties
Oh,
and
yeah.
how that part of the game has changed.
The quarterbacks wear the red jersey during the game now.
No matter what their team color is. So there, yeah, I mean, so sports evolve and sports change, and do I think everything that NASCAR has done is a home run? No. You know, but I'll be honest, what they're doing right now, I think is.
I will give them credit for trying, and I think they're listening to people, because you know, this is the most, seems like a fan's idea that they've had in a long time. Like, you've heard some fans comment, they're like, let's try that. You know,
The best thing they done was get Ryan Grant on that.
amen.
The guy they got over it now, Steve Phelps and Steve O'Donnell, you know, they're on Twitter after the races every single week. You know, they'll reply to people, you know. That's good to see.
Well, France wasn't coherent by the end of the race.
Right, yeah, he didn't know whether he was, well, anyway. He didn't know if he was at a racetrack or blowing up balloons.
Well,
I think him and Jim Irsay sit together a lot of times.
Yeah.
well, and I gotta say, you know, the whole idea of some of the changes they're making, you know, goes back to what I've heard you say on this show several times, Matt. We had to get out of the win on Sunday, sell on Monday mentality. You don't do that anymore. That's not how it works. You have to, and it's something I know we've talked in some of our other projects on dirt track. You have to start connecting people to stories.
Yes.
That's what people are looking for. It's not, I buy Tide because the Tide's on that car. I connect to the story, and then I start shopping for
Yes.
those products. And it is a lot of, how are we connecting to fans on social media? How are we interacting? You know, I love, you know, I posted it today that on Twitter from the Thirsty Goat account. They had the picture of Elliott and Logano discussing the situation. Said somebody captioned this, and I said, well, this is two guys discussing who should go first in the McDonald's double drive-thru, obviously. So I love that they're starting to do some of those things and connecting with that younger generation, because I think they have a great opportunity. And honestly, I think, and you guys tell me your thoughts, I think COVID maybe helped NASCAR, and this is the reason why. A, they're the only thing going right now, but also a lot of interest got brought into the whole iRacing thing and what's going on, and kids are now playing iRacing, which is connecting them to NASCAR, and, you know, and all that's positive.
I agree with everything you said. But I was gonna say, I guess I'm a little weird, because I still go buy things that I see on the racetrack. But I don't know if I was right. You know, my grandparents' household was a NASCAR household. You know, my grandpa smoked Winston cigarettes. My grandma used Tide laundry soap. You know,
I drink Busch beer.
you know, but grandpa used Goody's headache powder, because, you know, that was great big back in NASCAR. That that we had to have that. You know. So I was raised, if we seen it on the racetrack, that was products we bought, and I still kind of fall that way.
And I do too. And I'm not saying that. I I don't think that's weird. I just don't think it's how the younger generation that we're going to bring in does it. Because I've said on here before, if I had the option between Lowe's and Home Depot when Stewart was driving for Home Depot, I drove to Home Depot because that was Stewart and Lowe's was Johnson. I sure as hell wasn't going in Lowe's to buy something.
I'd still drive to Home Depot over Lowe's.
Home Depot might be
But that was part of it, that idea that they sponsored Stewart, and then he got to Office Depot, and I don't even know where an Office Depot is still open. So,
yeah.
But
I used Old Spice when Tony was sponsored by. Well, I still do, but yeah.
So if Tony was sponsored by Secret, would you have used it?
strong enough for a man, but built for a woman. Hey, I'm man enough to say whenever I run out, that's what my wife uses, and that's what I end up with.
They say
I have swiped my pits more than once with it myself, and I sometimes think it's stronger than our deodorant.
I do
That's
too.
what I was gonna
Because I
say.
think it lasts longer into the day. I mean, I really do.
I
I might have to look into that.
the only thing is now the wife has like a spare stick, but for me it's like when the emergency stick, because I don't think she wants my arm hair stuck to the top of her.
When she looks at the top of it, there's arm hair across it.
All right, yeah. So basically, NASCAR Secret deodorant. There's a big opportunity for some sponsorship. But I also think, I think the social media thing too is interesting because I think, you guys correct me, but I think NASCAR is also doing a better job of drawing women in as well. And I think they tried to make this huge women push, obviously when Danica was running and all that. But I don't think that mattered to women. Again, I think they wanted stories. They wanted the idea of the drama. They wanted to know about these drivers and their home lives and their families and things like that. And I think that's what's helping draw a lot of these women back in.
I agree. And they are working more on the backstory. Little things where, Denny Hamlin went back to his hometown and he went to his dad's trailer shop and, that's one that I love watching that stuff because you kind of get a feel for the guy. But I think that opens up for women too. They realize he's just not some race car driver. They realize where he comes from, what he did.
Well, and I think the cool thing is even in NASCAR, when you're talking about it, all forms of racing, most of these guys come from a very normal life. Outside of the Chase Elliott's, and I'm not putting them down by saying this, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s, and I believe their dads raised them the right way, but that's a different life than what
They knew what they were going to do.
Yes, yeah, that's a different life than. But it's different than like LeBron James at 13. Everybody knew was the next thing. He was catered to and a king. Chase Briscoe breaks Jeff Gordon's record at 13 in a 410 sprint car. The next day, he wasn't on the cover of Sports Illustrated and ESPN and everybody talking about him. He's still a normal guy, and I think in racing you get that more than any other sport. They stay grounded and normal, and I think that's where those backstories are huge.
And they stay close to their fans still. I mean, at a NASCAR race, you can't get as close to them as you could, at a dirt race, but they're still accessible. Especially like the fan zone down at Daytona, where you can't go into the garage, but you've got a window right there, and you hang your stuff over, and I mean,
right there in their work area.
NASCAR planned that to put the fans closer in, and that was a great step there.
All right, are we ready? Let me see if I can get this thing to come up here and load. But are we ready here to move in to the next segment here of the show?
Sure.
Are we ready to take a look? Let me jump here. Hopefully. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to this. And let's push it. Oh, wrong one.
Oh, we can do it.
Well, let's jump into it here. But hold on. We're going to go in here to a little bit of hot takes from these gentlemen. We got some fun stuff tonight, so let's see here. But we're going to start off here, and it's going to lead into...
My rant is, I changed my rant while we've been talking, so I come up with a new one.
Okay, well, we're going to jump into this. first. So my first hot take, and we've kind of danced around the topic earlier, but the idea of Joey Elliott and Joey Elliott.
Wow. And he's the lead singer of Def Leppard.
He's also our former quarterback at Evansville Harrison, who played at Purdue and then went on to the Canadian Football League. So shout out Joey Elliott, now a pro player scout for the Indianapolis Colts. So Joey Elliott. But anyway, not a race car driver, not who we're talking about. Chase Elliott versus Joey Logano.
That's what happens when the two of them crash a wall. They put Joey Elliott.
And, so you guys again kind of danced around the idea there, but let's talk here. Was that not the same exact move by Chase Elliott that Kyle Busch pulled that caused the wreck, or am I totally wrong?
Chase was a little further up on Logano than Busch was, and it was later in the race. But outside of that, yeah, same thing.
You know, where's all the outcry at? You know, for him wrecking Logano.
Well, I think with that one, not too many people really like Kyle Busch.
Right.
Chase Elliott right now is the golden child.
Yeah.
Then
It
you go
depends on who you are.
Then you go to situation B. Not a whole lot of people are Joey Logano fans,
Yeah.
and Chase Elliott's still the golden boy. So,
Yeah.
you know, you had the villain doing the bad thing in the first one, and the villain getting the bad thing in the second one. So, you know, it's.
But I loved it. I mean,
I did too. Brad Keselowski and Clint Boyer thought it was the greatest thing ever. And here's. I'm finally glad that a Penske team member got something good out of a Joey Logano incident on the racetrack, because Joey Logano was the world's worst at dumping his teammates. I mean, and I can't believe Roger Penske, being the businessman he is, ain't come forward and said, "Leave my other cars alone."
I can't figure out that whole relationship. And I listened to the whole Dale Jr. download with Penske on there, and I have a lot of respect for Roger Penske, but I cannot. Those two don't mesh in my mind, personality-wise. I don't. Logano's a whiner. Logano doesn't seem like a competitor to me. He doesn't seem like a fighter.
He's a kid that's been handed everything since he's been about 5.
And
Never
that's.
work a day in his life.
Yeah.
And that's not Penske. And I struggle so much with that, because that's not what I think of when I think of Roger Penske and Penske, Motorsport.
I noticed though, when in the race, Logano was all over the back of Blaney. And I thought, here we go again. You know, he's going to take his teammate out. Yeah, I don't know if he's thinking if he does that, he's the best Penske car, but. And he doesn't rough up. Maybe he thinks that they're not going to scold him like the other drivers do. But good for Keselowski.
He's like you was saying, he's a guy that would be a good driver. They meshed well with Penske. He worked his way up.
Oh yeah.
And he finally got his big break, and then Penske took notice and took him, and won a championship and all kinds of races with him. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It just blows my mind when like I said, I listened to that whole thing, and I read tons of articles about Roger, and I got so much respect for him, and that relationship, more than any, I can't understand how it came to be. I can't figure that one out.
And I'll let Nathan bring it up since he brought it up before the show, but the conversation after the race, I mean, you hit that on the head there, so I'll let you bring that up.
Joey was saying that it was a childish move on Chase Elliott's part. How many times has Logano done that to somebody?
Yeah.
And more times than Chase Elliott has ever thought about doing it to somebody.
It's never his fault when he does it.
I was literally laughing when he said that. I'm like, are you that stupid? The boy's aggressive. He's a good race car driver, but own up to your mistakes.
That is, I'm gonna give props to Kyle Busch. He's aggressive like Logano, but if he jumps you, yeah, I jumped you.
Yeah, he'll own up to it.
Yeah, I did it. You're right.
Yeah, he whines about what happens to him, and I will agree with that. And I don't think he does get enough credit for that. He whines about what happens to him, and sometimes I think he lives an alternate reality of how people drive him, and I'll admit that as a fan. But when he jumps you, he does it. I mean, he does.
Yeah.
Again, his talk after when he wrecked Elliott, I did it. I apologize. I did it for him. I'm moving on.
Yeah. I can't go back and fix it. I did it. And
Yeah.
Logano, there's never been a wreck that was ever Logano's fault since he's sat down in a race car seat. But that is. I don't agree with everything with Kyle Busch, but he does own. When he wrecks something.
All right, before we move on to our next two hot takes, it is time for one of the best parts of this show, which is new now to us, but it is Matt's rant. So Matt, we've asked you every week to come in here with a rant. We're gonna put it right here on you. Matt's rant.
I've ranted on this before, but Bristol went back to old Bristol, and I started ranting about halfway through the race when I started hearing Jeff Gordon say they're jumping the cushion. Because I looked and I could not find the cushion. Bristol was great, but I didn't see a cushion. They have wore out the term slide job. There is never a slide job in NASCAR, but why are we taking dirt track terms for asphalt racing? There's not a cushion out on the racetrack. And at one time I heard Jeff say, well, they jumped the cushion, so to speak. Well, then don't say that. They slid up out of the groove. Let's go back to asphalt terms. I think those are two terms that are amazing that they have just almost wore out where no one else wants to hear me. So it's a short rant, but that's my rant.
But there used to be dirt at Bristol that one time when they had dirt racing. I think they cleaned all that stuff up so there's not enough dirt on the track.
I was there.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that aggravates me too.
So I don't disagree at all, and I'm not going to argue with that point. But you did make me think with that, going back to the things that I gave kudos to NASCAR for and everything I think they're doing well. That's one where I think they're failing. Because I think they're doing a great job with their product. I think they're doing a great job with social media. But in trying to connect the grassroots dirt racing, they did the NASCAR grassroots tracks last year. They're trying to throw in all these dirt terms. That's not drawing dirt track fans in.
No, because you get the average, not even average NASCAR fan. You get the guy that watches 2 times out of a month, maybe. He's gonna think that sounds pretty cool. But those of us that live at the dirt track and just watch NASCAR, we don't. At least me, I don't like the segregation or the mixing of the two. Things there. Cushions are on dirt tracks. Slide jobs they've been there for years. They're not at these asphalt and concrete racetracks.
People like to compare, NASCAR and dirt racing, but you can't. It's two different.
Yes.
Two different forms of racing. The same objective.
Now, when the trucks go to Eldora, let's talk about cushion. Let's talk about slide jobs. But until then,
let's teach what it truly is.
Yes.
I agree 100%.
Yes.
I have no problem with them trying to educate NASCAR fans on dirt. To be excited about that, but let's not use them interchangeably.
And I almost wish they would have a pre-race, lesson, like when the truck's there, let their commentators go out there, and show the cushion. This is what we're referencing here.
Get James Essex up there.
Yeah. Because we've all seen pictures at sprint car. I think sprint car races have the biggest cushions in the world. They make a cushion bigger than anybody does. Where you can see little kids sit down that looks like they're sitting on a chair. That's a cushion. And discuss about it getting pushed up. But this, you got the marbles off the tires over and they're calling that a cushion. We're giving that an injustice.
Don't disagree at all. So that is Matt's rant of the week. So my second one here for you on hot takes is looking at the playoff picture. All right, so right now, locked in the playoffs, you have Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman, Martin Truex Jr., Blaney, Kyle Busch, Boyer, Kurt Busch, Matt DiBiase, Jimmy Johnson, and Austin Dillon, Eric Jones, Eric Almirola. That is your top 16 right now headed into the playoffs. And I have to be honest, I'm gonna throw these couple guys out. Alex Bowman being currently sitting in 6th. shocked me in the playoff points.
That high shocked me. I expected him in there. I think if you go back and look at our list, I might have had him with 16.
Austin Dillon being 14th
Yes,
and
that
actually
surprised me.
in shocked me.
Yes.
And being ahead of Eric Almirola shocked me. So
Eric Jones being in there, period, is a shock
I
to me.
don't disagree there either. So I'm also going to give you those first 5 that are out and see at this point right now. We talked about the schedule earlier. What's coming up? Who do you think can break in and who do you think falls out there? So 17th is William Byron. 18th is Tyler Reddick. 19th is Chris Buescher. And 20th is John Hunter Nemechek. And 21st is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And I got to be honest with you too, and I know Ricky Stenhouse has not had a great run. He is much farther back than I expected him to be. I figured he was right on that cusp of 15, 16, 17. And I get you can say, well, he's only down to 21st, but
I don't think he's in the equipment that he is used to being in.
I don't disagree with that either.
And I think he's having a learning curve with that, of how to race what he's in now. I mean, it's not junk equipment, but I think the 17 car is just a little bit of a better car than that 47 car.
I mean, he has ran well. He ran well at the Charlotte race during the week last week. But, I mean, he was running decent yesterday, but I think he got caught up in a wreck or
He did.
something. But
Chris Buescher, I am surprised is not in the top 16. But again, I don't know. Because he's in the 17 car.
I'm kind of surprised that William Byron can set. He just can't put a full race together.
No.
If that boy could put a race together, he would have. I mean, I know we don't live in a woulda, coulda, shoulda world, but
I actually think they moved him up too quick.
yeah.
I mean, he had such success in the trucks and such success in the Xfinity. There's like move up, and they wanted him up there. Hendrick needed him in that 24 car, but I think he should have spent another season in Xfinity, and then maybe ran. What do you think? They run 4 or 5 races before they give up the rookie status. Let him test a few, and then introduce him into it.
Can we talk about that real quick though? Because I know as we started this show, we talked about this crop of rookies and just how, maybe the most star-studded group of rookies we've seen.
My rookie that I picked is doing very good.
But you look at Tyler Reddick,
That's mine.
John Hunter Nemechek, Cole Custer, Chris Bell, all on the outside looking in at the playoffs. And I thought correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we all probably thought 2 would at least be in.
But it's still early, and that's.
But how about John Hunter Nemechek? I don't want to say that's an underfunded team.
But it is.
It is, but it's not as bad as what some of them are. But
Cole Custer is the surprising. I don't think letdown. I guess out of the
Yeah.
rookie class.
but
See, I'd put Christopher Bell. I think he'd be my biggest
That's
disappointment.
surprising that you even saying that. But, with him being the sprint car background.
I love it, but to be in 25th, I mean, he's behind Custer right now. And again, I think part of that is, Bell being in a Toyota. I think Toyota's got some. I wouldn't hit the panic button. I know we've used that term before. I wouldn't hit the panic button yet, but they might have the cover taken off. And
But I think there's another one moved up too quick.
I don't disagree with that either.
I don't know. But just John Hunter Nemechek really surprised me as for the equipment that he's in. He was pumped in yesterday, then he had a spark plug issue.
Yeah, wire broke on it.
And then came all the way back up and finished around 10.
Yeah.
You can't do that at Bristol.
No,
That
no.
kind of a car. The boy's got talent.
I agree.
All right, let's move on here to number 3 in our hot take. We're going to talk a little bit about the number of wins in the NASCAR Cup Series, not across all, just in the Cup Series. And we all know that the king is the king at 200 wins.
David Pearson.
But looking at active drivers, you've got Jimmy Johnson with 83, Kyle Busch with 56, and Harvick with 50. We're not even obviously talking about that 200 number. Is there an active driver right now that you think can hit the 100 mark?
And I'm just gonna say, that crop of talent we just talked about, they're gonna get their ducks in a row. And, they're really gonna, I think Jimmy Johnson is at his number. You guys know that. I made the bet. I think that is gonna be his final number.
I think it's 84.
I think he'll get one this season. But
Kevin Harvick will get up about to Jimmy Johnson's number. I think Kevin or Kyle would be the one the best do it, but I just don't think they can get to 100.
I would take Kyle because I worry about the longevity of Harvick. And this is the reason why. Not in the sense that I don't think he wants to be competitive, but he looks, I look at him a lot in that Tony Stewart frame. I see him, I could see it becoming, Stewart, Haas, Harvick racing.
Right.
I could see it, something like that where he's in ownership, he's owning tracks, he is, doing things in that business mindset. Just kind of looking at what him and his wife have done in the whole sport. I don't know if he'll grind that long. Now Kyle Busch, I think Busch is nutty enough. I see him being like a Mark Martin, man. I think he's still trying to get it done when Father Time has said quit, and he's still out there. He would be my pick. I definitely see Rowdy getting to that 80 mark around there, but I think it's tough for people to realize too. You look at Johnson, 17 more wins is a long way.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And with the Kings 200, they were racing on dirt track in NASCAR back when he was winning his races, and the Petties were so far ahead of the game. And you talk about living in the gray area. The Petties created the gray area.
And they were racing 50 or 60 times a year.
Yes. Yeah. The race season had more races in it, and Richard Petty was dominant. If he unloaded, he was probably going to be the winner.
You didn't see 15 or 16 different winners each year back then too.
But
I would imagine.
I'm also going to say, and I want to go back to the retired drivers on this, but Dale Earnhardt, Pearson, pretty much, Darrell Waltrip would not have had the numbers they had if Tim Richmond hadn't died off early. Because Tim Richmond was going to be a superstar. I mean, you guys know Days of Thunder was modeled after Tim Richmond, not Jeff Ford like everyone thinks. But Richmond was going to be a superstar. So, and that's what we're getting ready to have now is another group of superstars coming up that I think are really going to start pounding on the veterans. Not this year, but the next 2 or 3 years. That's kind of before you live
All right, so.
Now he's hand picking them. He ain't shuffling and drawing one. We're hand picking the cards now.
Oh yeah. So first of all, the first question I have, which is a good one for you guys, because it goes a little bit back to our food conversation.
Oh, good.
But these are called What the Heck. Again by Poddex. Check out poddex.com. Sponsor here. And it is, what is the best microwavable food?
Leftovers.
That's microwave. Pizza rolls.
Pizza roll.
I like them crusty in the oven. I'll have to disagree with that.
I mean, something quick, yeah.
Leftovers.
So I don't even,
over pizza.
I don't even
I eat
microwave.
pizza cold.
I don't even microwave leftovers. I just
Most
eat
of the time I
everything
don't
cold.
either, yeah. Pizza is definitely cold room temperature is the only way I eat that way.
I got the, but I prefer them in my air fryer.
Popcorn.
Popcorn. That's a good call. I'm going the frozen burritos.
Oh man, I forgot about those.
I mean, if I'm really thinking
Yeah.
about best microwavable food,
It's hard. To
I'm not
find a
talking
good
about-
frozen burrito though.
I'm not talking about health. I'm not talking about.
What's that?
I am right there at the frozen burrito.
Okay, I'm gonna have to jump off my ship and onto yours then, because I forgot about the burritos.
All right, now would you rather take cold showers for the rest of your life, or never get more than 4 hours of sleep a night again?
Cold showers the rest of my life.
Might be damn one.
Yeah.
I can't do a cold shower at all. It's gotta be scalding hot. So And I only get about 4 hours anyway. I think you do too.
Yeah,
That's a normal for me. So.
4 hours of sleep.
Oh yeah,
I'm good.
that's great. I mean, you wake up and give it that's.
Because it doesn't say I can't nap too.
Right.
I can always take a nap,
Yeah.
but 4 hours of sleep a night, I gotta have. Oh man, can you imagine waking up every day and you had to take a cold shower?
I did for a while.
I just wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
Because that cold showers are miserable.
I'd break out the secret deodorant and roll with it.
Yeah, yeah. Years ago, I was at Eldora one time, and there was a line at the mobile showers. I mean, it was going to be like 2 hours before I could get in the shower. And I thought, man, I got water in my tank in the camper, but my hot water heater wasn't working. So I decided I was going to try to take a cold shower. Never again. Yeah. I mean, it took my breath trying to do it.
Oh yeah, it'll.
So I was like, I'm done. You know, it was. I went back and got in the line instead.
Make you grow up.
Oh yeah.
More ways.
Yeah. Sound like a balloon popping.
We always find the best way to finish these. So with that, guys, we're gonna draw
Looked
up.
like a turkey baster popping out.
We're gonna draw up the rest of this episode here, like jumping in a cold shower. We'll be back next week, looking at the results there at Atlanta, and
Nathan is off the boards here.
Martinsville. And to kind of go along with this conversation, don't forget about those great Martinsville hot dogs, those little
Hot dog
reds
sandwiches.
and little red hots. Hot dog sandwiches.
Hey, is it Oreo a sandwich?
I ain't getting involved in this. You guys go ahead.
I would say, yeah,
It's a cookie sandwich.
yeah. Cookie sandwich.
You guys
Well, it's
go
an
ahead.
ice cream sandwich, just like an Oreo, isn't it?
You guys hash this out. I ain't getting into it again.
I had 2 Italian sausage sandwiches today.
I do love a good sandwich. I mean, I did too, because I had a chili cheese hot dog sandwich from Freddy's, and it is actually on Texas toast.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's not actually a bun. It's like,
So they split the hot dog there?
well, no, it's like a Texas toast bun. It's special made for Freddy's, but it is like this big, thick piece of Texas toast. Oh, it's good.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Gresham's had their stand set up in North Arlington Day, and we got me 2 Italian sausage sandwiches there. Spectacular. Good job.
I had a bologna salad sandwich when I got home. But some people make it with ham, but we make it with bologna.
That's called sandwich spread, I believe. When you put the bologna in it.
When you got home, I thought you went to
I did.
King Heroes.
Well, I had to have a little snack when I got home from work. I was hungry. I hadn't ate all day. I'm gonna blow up and wither away. Here, blow up. Wither away and blow away.
What'd you say there, bologna?
But hey, I did go up there and got me like $15 worth of stuff. That was a lot of food for $15.
Oh, that place is awesome.
I like that place too.
Oh my gosh.
Very, very good.
Very good.
All right, we'll be back next week with takes on Atlanta and Martinsville. So don't forget, join us with the Darf Show every week following that.